Welcome to English Bookshelf, where every book becomes your new friend and every summary gives you a new lesson. Imagine this. Two people earn the same salary. They live in the same city. They work in similar jobs. Yet, one of them is constantly stressed about money, while the other sleeps peacefully at night. One is trapped in debt, the other is quietly building wealth. One feels unlucky, the other feels in control. The question is not, how much money do they make? The real question is, how do they think about money? Because in the end, money is not just math. Money is emotions, psychology, behavior, ego, patience, fear, and discipline. And this is exactly what Morgan Housel wants to teach us in his powerful book, The Psychology of Money. Picture a world where financial success is not about being the smartest person in the room. It is not about having an MBA, not about complex formulas, not about insider stock tips, and not about predicting the market. Instead, it is about understanding human behavior, your behavior, my behavior, our relationship with money. The book opens by reminding us of a simple but deeply uncomfortable truth. People make financial decisions based not on logic, but on personal experiences. If you grew up poor, you may fear losing money. If you grew up wealthy, you may take risks easily. If your parents lost everything in a recession, you might become overly cautious. If you saw someone get rich overnight, you might start gambling with your own future. Money is not a neutral tool. It carries memories, trauma, pride, and identity. Housel tells us that no one is crazy when it comes to money. Everyone is acting logically based on their own past. What looks stupid to you might make perfect sense to someone else because of what they have lived through. Now imagine two investors. One checks the stock market every day, panics when prices fall, and sells in fear. The other rarely checks, stays calm, and holds long term. Who do you think becomes richer? Not the smartest one, but the most patient one. This is the heart of the book. Wealth is not built by genius. Wealth is built by behavior. Housel introduces a powerful idea. Getting rich and staying rich are two completely different skills. Many people know how to make money. Entrepreneurs, traders, influencers, lottery winners, they can get rich. But very few know how to keep that wealth. Because keeping money requires humility, discipline, and self-control, not brilliance. You don't need to take huge risks to build wealth. You just need to avoid catastrophic mistakes. One bad decision can destroy decades of hard work. One emotional reaction can wipe out your savings. One moment of ego can ruin your financial future. Think about this. Most financial disasters don't happen because people are foolish. They happen because people become greedy or scared at the wrong moment. The book then takes us deeper into the idea of luck and risk. Some people are successful not because they are geniuses, but because they were born in the right place at the right time. And some people fail not because they are lazy, but because life dealt them a bad hand. This does not mean we should feel helpless. It means we should be humble. We should respect luck, respect uncertainty, and never believe we are completely in control. Housel explains that financial success is less about being right all the time and more about surviving long enough to let compounding work its magic. Compounding is slow at first, boring, almost invisible. But over time, it becomes unstoppable. It's like planting a tiny seed. You water it every day. At first, nothing seems to happen. Then one day, it grows into a giant tree. That is how wealth works. Patience beats speed. Consistency beats intensity. The book also challenges our obsession with showing off. We live in a world where people buy things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't even like. Luxury cars, expensive clothes, fancy houses, often not signs of wealth, but signs of insecurity. True wealth is not what you see. It is what you don't see. It is quiet. It is invisible. It is money in the bank, freedom, and peace of mind. Housel beautifully explains that the ultimate goal of money is not to buy things, but to buy control over your time. The ability to wake up and say, I can choose how I spend my day. That is real richness. As the book progresses, we learn that there is no single perfect financial strategy. What matters is a strategy that fits your personality, your life, and your emotions. Some people thrive on investing. Others need simplicity. Some prefer safety. Others are comfortable with risk. There is no one size fits all. But there is one universal rule. Save more than you spend, invest wisely, stay patient, and never let ego drive your decisions. And slowly, you begin to realize that money is not your master. It is your servant. This book does not promise quick riches. It does not sell dreams. Instead, it teaches wisdom. It teaches humility. It teaches that financial success is less about what you know and more about how you behave. And by the end of the psychology of money, you don't just understand money better. You understand yourself better. Now, as the story of money unfolds, Morgan Housel takes us to a deeper and more uncomfortable place, the role of ego in our financial lives. We like to believe that we make decisions based on logic. But in reality, many of our financial choices are driven by how we want to be seen by others. We don't just buy things. We buy identities. We don't just invest money. We invest in our image. Think about it. Why do people buy luxury cars? Is it purely for comfort? Or is it because they want others to see them as successful, powerful, and important? Why do people take extreme financial risks? Is it because they truly believe in the opportunity? Or because they want to look bold, smart, and fearless? Housel gently reminds us that ego is one of the most dangerous forces in money. It pushes people to take risks they don't understand, spend money they don't have, and compete in games that will never make them happy. He tells us that the most powerful financial move is often not making a move at all. Sitting still, staying calm, doing nothing when everyone else is panicking. But that is emotionally difficult because doing nothing feels weak in a world that glorifies action. The book then introduces a fascinating idea, the difference between planning and reality. On paper, financial planning looks simple. Earn, save, invest, grow. But real life is messy. Jobs are lost. Markets crash. Families get sick. Crises happen. Wars happen. Pandemics happen. And suddenly, the perfect plan falls apart. Housel says that a good financial plan is not the one that works in ideal conditions, but the one that survives chaos. It is not about precision, but about flexibility. Not about perfection, but about margin of safety. He explains that you should always leave room for error in your financial life. Save more than you think you need. Take less risk than you feel capable of handling. Because the future is unpredictable and surprises are guaranteed. Then comes one of the most powerful lessons of the book. Time is more important than talent. You might be a brilliant investor, but if you are impatient, you will fail. You might not be a genius, but if you are patient and consistent, you can build real wealth. Money rewards those who can wait. Housel compares wealth building to a slow, long marathon rather than a flashy sprint. Most people quit too early. They get bored. They get distracted. They chase shortcuts. But the people who truly succeed are the ones who simply stay in the game the longest. The book also challenges our definition of success. Society tells us that success means bigger houses, faster cars, and expensive lifestyles. But Housel asks a different question. What if success actually means freedom? Freedom to spend time with family. Freedom to choose your work. Freedom to rest. Freedom to say no. Freedom to live life on your own terms. He argues that the ultimate purpose of money is not luxury, but control over your life. If your wealth makes you anxious, busy, stressed, and trapped, then what is the point of it? As the narrative continues, the book explores the relationship between risk and reward. Many people believe that taking bigger risks automatically leads to bigger rewards. But Housel explains that survival is more important than growth. The goal is not to win big quickly. The goal is to avoid losing everything. Because once you are out of the game, compounding cannot work for you anymore. He uses historical examples of investors who were incredibly smart but destroyed their wealth because they took too much risk. Intelligence did not save them. Their behavior failed them. And slowly, a clear message emerges. Financial success is not about beating the system. It is about understanding yourself, controlling your emotions, and playing a long, patient game. By now, as a listener, you start to feel something shift inside you. You realize that this book is not just teaching you about money. It is teaching you about life, patience, humility, and perspective. You begin to see money not as a scoreboard, but as a tool. Not as a measure of your worth, but as a means to build a better, calmer, more meaningful life. And this is where Morgan Housel prepares us for the final and most profound part of the book, the idea that real wealth is internal, not external. As we move deeper into the heart of this book, Morgan Housel brings us to a powerful realization that wealth is not just what you accumulate, but how you think, feel, and behave with money. He asks us to pause and reflect on a simple but uncomfortable truth. Many people who look rich are actually broke, and many people who look ordinary are quietly wealthy. The world is full of shiny appearances and hidden realities. We live in an age where success is constantly displayed on social media. Perfect lifestyles, luxury vacations, expensive cars, and glamorous homes fill our screens. But Housel reminds us that what we see is rarely the full story. Behind many of those images lies debt, stress, comparison, and insecurity. True wealth, he says, does not need applause. It does not need validation. It does not need an audience. Real wealth is private, patient, and peaceful. The book then introduces a beautiful and simple concept: enough. Most people never feel like they have enough. No matter how much they earn, they want more. More money, more status, more recognition, more comfort. But this endless chase often leads to burnout, anxiety, and emptiness. Housel suggests that one of the most powerful financial decisions you can ever make is deciding how much is enough for you. When you know you're enough, you stop running an endless race. You start living with clarity. He explains that happiness does not increase forever with money. At a certain point, more money does not make life significantly better. What matters more is freedom, relationships, health, and purpose. Then the book shifts toward one of its most emotional lessons, the role of humility in money. Many financial disasters happen because people believe they are smarter than they actually are. They underestimate risk, overestimate their control, and ignore the role of luck. But humility protects you. It keeps you cautious. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you in the game. Housel encourages us to admit that we don't know everything, that the future is uncertain, that markets are unpredictable, that life can change in an instant. And that is not weakness, that is wisdom. He also talks about the idea of patience in a world obsessed with speed. We want fast results, fast growth, fast success. But money does not work that way. Wealth is slow. Growth is gradual. Compounding takes time. Many people give up because they don't see immediate results. They switch strategies, chase trends, and look for shortcuts. But the book teaches us that the quiet, steady, boring path is often the most powerful one. Housel also explores how money interacts with our personal values. Some people want wealth for power. Some want it for security. Some want it for freedom. Some want it for comfort. And there is no right answer as long as you are honest with yourself. The danger comes when you chase money for the wrong reasons, to impress others, to fill emotional emptiness, or to compete in a meaningless comparison game. That path rarely leads to fulfillment. As the story builds toward its conclusion, the book gently reshapes how we see success. Success is not about beating others. It is about building a life that feels good from the inside. Housel makes us realize that the smartest financial moves are often invisible. Saving quietly, investing consistently, living below your means, avoiding drama, avoiding ego, avoiding unnecessary risk. And slowly, you begin to understand that money is not just numbers on a screen. It is a reflection of your mindset, your discipline, your patience, and your character. By now, as a listener, you don't just see money differently. You see yourself differently. You feel calmer, more thoughtful, more aware, less driven by fear, less controlled by comparison, and more connected to what truly matters. And this is where the book prepares us for its final, profound message, that the greatest wealth is not financial at all. Now, as the journey of this book reaches its peak, Morgan Housel brings us to the most profound and emotional realization of all, that the greatest form of wealth is not measured in bank accounts, properties, or investments, but in peace of mind. He reminds us that money, at its core, is simply a tool. A powerful tool, yes, but still just a tool. It has no meaning on its own. Its value depends entirely on how we use it, how we think about it, and how it fits into our lives. Many people spend their entire lives chasing wealth, believing that once they reach a certain number, they will finally be happy, secure, and fulfilled. But Housel gently reveals that happiness does not arrive with a bank statement. It grows from clarity, gratitude, and freedom. He tells us that some of the richest people in the world are deeply unhappy, trapped in fear of losing what they have built. And some people with far less money live richer, calmer, and more meaningful lives because they are content, connected, and free. The book circles back to one of its most important ideas. Survival is more important than growth. In money, in life, in careers, in relationships. Staying in the game, staying steady, staying patient, and staying humble matters more than any flashy victory. Housel makes us understand that financial success is not about being perfect. You will make mistakes. You will misjudge. You will have regrets. You will miss opportunities. That is not failure. That is being human. What truly matters is your ability to recover, to learn, to adapt, and to keep going without letting fear or ego take control. As the story concludes, the book leaves us with a quiet but powerful truth. The real purpose of money is to give you options. The option to rest. The option to work on what you love. The option to spend time with the people who matter to you. The option to live life on your own terms. Wealth is not about showing off. It is about sleeping well at night. It is about having enough saved so that you are not constantly anxious. Enough discipline so that you are not controlled by impulse. Enough humility so that you respect uncertainty. And enough patience so that you trust the slow magic of compounding. By the end of The Psychology of Money, you realize that this book is not just a financial guide. It is a life lesson wrapped in the language of money. It teaches you to be kinder to yourself when you make financial mistakes, more understanding toward others when they make different choices, more cautious with risk, more patient with growth, more aware of your own emotions, and more focused on what truly matters. As your audience listens to this story, they should walk away with a new perspective that money is not a race, not a competition, and not a measure of their worth. It is simply a tool to build a calmer, freer, and more meaningful life. And that is the true message of The Psychology of Money. Not how to get rich quickly, but how to think about money wisely. Not how to impress the world, but how to live peacefully within yourself. Because in the end, the richest person is not the one with the most money, it is the one who needs the least. If this video inspired you, subscribe to English Bookshelf for more stories, more learning, and more inspiration. Until the next book, keep reading, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself.